Welcome to the Half-Blood Report.
Here we discuss Percy Jackson news, interviews, and all things Riordan. I'm Samuel, your co-host.
And I'm Diego, your other co-host.
And later on the podcast, we're going to be doing our fall mailbag. A lot of people I know have been looking forward to us and messaging us. And yeah, we're doing it. But first, Diego, what were you doing Riordan related this week?
So, Riordan related this week, I was reading Tower of Nero, and I know usually I'm the speediest reader on the planet, but this time I took it a bit more slowly and enjoyed each and every word and actually remembered the names of characters this time because if you've ever listened to us do a Riordan review on this podcast, you know that I just say that the girl and there was the frog dude and also the person with the thing and the color, because I never remember anybody's names. But this time I'm confident that when we review Tower of Nero, I will know the names.
Yeah, Riordan related this week, I was also reading the Tower of Nero. Very exciting stuff. And also alternating that with Tristan Strong, two very cool books that have come out. And I also managed to go to the first Trials of Uncle Rick event. I went with Carlos Hernandez, and we got actually a lot of cool info there that we'll be talking about in the Demigod news. I know a lot of people might have expected that we were going to be doing like straight after the book comes out a Tower of Nero review, but we kind of both wanted to have our own time to slow read and enjoy the conclusion, but also secondly, we know that maybe some other people are reading slowly, and we don't want to, immediately do a super spoilery episode about that book, just because some people might also be taking their time with that. And also, I would encourage you not to be posting spoilers and stuff online, because I know Rick Riordan and Becky and everyone have been saying don't spoil the book, because this isn't just Charles of Apollo 4. This is Charles of Apollo 5. All right, this is the end to everything. So no spoilers, please.
Yeah. It's just kind of like something that it's just basic stuff. Like, you want to make sure that everybody can like get their own moments and with the characters and stuff, and you don't want to like jump in and be like, "Oh my god, did you hear so and so is dead" or something? Like, that's just not it's not very polite to do that.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't always been the best avoiding spoilers on the podcast before.
Yeah.
But
I should mention, this one is extra special spoiler ban.
Yeah, this isn't. Yeah, usually we're like, maybe we'll put in like a sound to tell them it's spoiler time, and maybe we'll forget to edit it in.
By we, you mean you, right?
Well, you're usually the person who jumps straight into spoilers, so mutual.
That is true.
Mutual fault.
That is true.
But yeah, also going into the Tower of Nero has been the end of the Camp Half-Blood Chronicles and everything, but it's also been surprisingly really good for our podcast. We obviously did the videos with Rick, and I mean, something really awesome just happened, right, Diego?
Yeah, we just hit 10,000 downloads, which is a lot, and it is like, I remember what it felt like hitting our first 10 downloads, and all of those 10 were me, my mom, Samuel's mom, and Samuel. And
Diego, that's 4. So
I'm not good at math, Samuel. And then hitting our first 100 once we did the episode with Kwame, and then hitting our first 1,000. I think it was, I forget when we hit that, but Samuel and I, we did a toast to the first 1,000, and we actually did a toast for 2,000 and 3,000, and then we decided to save it for 10,000 to do it again. So Samuel,
and can I clarify that these toasts have been using a mixture of like juice, hot chocolate, tea, and water, because we are underage?
Yeah, I also drank like just a straight shot glass of maple syrup.
Oh, that was one of the toasts. He did use a shot glass of maple syrup, which I told him he shouldn't do.
It tasted good though. So Samuel, do you want to do a little?
You got it all over your
slinky?
desk, Diego.
Yeah, I did get it all over my desk.
Well, I don't have a glass right now, so maybe we'll do that after. I can just edit in some clinking sound
Yeah,
effects if
yeah,
you want
okay,
to be
that's
cool.
pretty slick.
Yeah. So a toast to 10,000 downloads. This you know as much as I would love to take credit for all of it, it is not. This podcast is not supported by Diego and I. It's supported by all our fans, and whether that is in a more literal, like our awesome the awesome fans supporting us on Patreon, or whether you just click that download button, click the subscribe button. That's really what makes us love doing this show, and that's actually kind of a great episode to talk about it because we're doing a mailbag. But it's really incredible how much this podcast has meant for some of you to keep up with Riordan related stuff. And you tuning in every week is what lets us do stuff like the video we did with Rick Riordan, or have Rick Riordan Presents offers on our podcast. And you know whether this is your first episode and you're helping us on the road to 20,000, or if you have been listening all the way back since October, we're just super appreciative of everyone else helped us get to like this crazy number that so many podcasts start and never get to. So thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. And now that we're in the little thank you segment right before we jump into the Demigod news and then the mailbag, we should also thank our number one biggest fans who very literally um make it possible for us to do this and for you guys to listen to it, which is our parents. They do the
I did
monies.
not realize you were
They
going there,
they
but
they do
yeah.
the monies as of right now, and
Well,
you
we have one really awesome patron.
we have one
Like,
awesome
shout
patron.
out to you, Magnus Chase.
But yeah, thanks mama and papa for for making it possible.
Yeah, thanks to all our parents. They have certainly been super supportive of us in doing this and our goals. So
Do you want to jump into the Demigod news?
pretty actually big news. Rick Riordan and Becky, they have started a production company. So that is very cool. It's
Yes.
called the Mytho Magic. Have you seen like the
I
not the logo,
No, no,
not
no.
the
They
logo
they did
exactly,
they
but
did
the
like a little like animation thing. Yeah, I've seen the animation. We should like
oh, so cool.
probably put a link to that if it's possible, or maybe you guys can just look it up. Yeah, but there's like this little cool animation where there's a pen and it writes out Mythomagic. This was actually like first kind of like broken or like announced on Monday. They didn't make like a public announcement, but it was possible on their website to go to the Mythomagic tab. So we actually knew about this on Monday. But of course, we don't record till later in the week, and the episode is coming out on Monday. So you're hearing my voice on Monday. Um, and most people found out Friday. But
Well, yeah, because the thing is, it was like it just there was like now a new tab on Rick Riordan's website, so it wasn't like there was like any tweet promotion of like, hey, we have this new tab on our website that talks about our production company. It was just like, if you're one of those people who reloads Rick Riordan's website every day, then you knew about it. You can tell how that would be
yeah,
us.
yeah,
But then like no one was talking about it, and I was like, yes, we're gonna get to like sort of pseudo break the news on our podcast. And then it's like Rick Riordan wrote a blog post about Mythomagic and he promoted that. And I'm like, gosh darn, we don't get to pseudo break the news. So let me read what they wrote on their website about Mythomagic. And this is not from Rick's blog post. This is actually the official Mythomagic page. So it says, Mythomagic Inc. is a production company founded by Rick and Becky Riordan. Its immediate goal is to facilitate the development of Rick's intellectual properties into great television and film. To do this, Rick and Becky serve as full producers on projects. Their role is to act as guardians of the source material and work with their film industry partners to make the best possible adaptations. Below are our current projects. As more information becomes available, we will update you. So it says Percy Jackson and the Olympians TV series on Disney Plus, Mythomagic is in the early stages of development on a live action adaptation of the original Percy Jackson series of books. The first season is based on the Lightning Thief. At present, Rick is working on the script for the pilot episode in collaboration with our team. And then it says the Kane Chronicles feature films on Netflix. Rick and Becky have sold TV/film rights for the Kane Chronicles to Netflix for development as a series of feature films. Rick and Becky are presently serving as producers for a live action adaptation of the first book, The Red Pyramid. At present, the script is being written by our screenwriter, who is based in London. So that's actually a bunch of information we got, kind of about the works, sort of more what's actually
Yeah.
happening with them.
Yeah.
And, giving them the official titles of producers is really going to help Rick and Becky have control over the projects instead of just what we've had is like, we've been promised to be in control. Now that they're actually officially producers, that's like means more. As for what Mythomagic actually means, I mean, there's going to be a cool logo that plays
Yeah,
before you
exactly.
watch the Percy Jackson TV show.
And that's basically it.
Well, yeah, it's like Bad Robot, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like,
You
oh,
always
that's
see
that's a bad robot.
the little like Disney thing. It's kind of like that, but it's gonna be the little Disney plus like animation with the little sound in the background, and then it's gonna do the little Mytho Magic ink animation.
But Diego, yeah, I know it's like Disney Plus, but the reason I brought up the Bad Robot logo first is because this is like a kind of like a personal company, right? It's Rick and Becky. So, I mean, I seriously want to ask someone if there's a greater meaning to this, but right now I think it's probably just a way for them to not get sued because now that they've realized that they're going to be working on multiple productions in the film industry over the course of many years, considering they're doing 3 movies and 5 TV series. So I think now that they've realized, oh, we're going to be in the movie industry for a while, it's probably good if we have our own production company.
Yeah,
Basically,
yeah.
anytime you do multiple things for film, you make one of those. So yeah, it's kind of just like Bad Robot, cool logo, doesn't mean a lot. Um, it just
Other
kind of is
than
the
there's an official like incorporation that you could like refer back to.
Yeah, the way I would think about it, it's like it's basically just the corporation representation of Rick and Becky. So that's the way I would think about it. Not really like, oh my goodness, they're probably gonna make a Magnus Chase movies now.
Although if they did,
It would be under Mythomagic.
yeah, exactly, exactly. But moving on to what I think is the really exciting news of this week is that we got a bunch of stuff announced in the Rick Riordan Presents imprint. So first up, probably the most exciting is that there is going to be a Rick Riordan Presents anthology book called Rick Riordan Presents Hero Anthology. And this is going to be a collection of stories from Rick himself and the Rick Riordan Presents authors. And we, of course, love all of the authors and Rick himself. So this is going to be like a great book to read.
Yeah, so I was at the event when they announced it, and so this is essentially what it is. It's the Rick Riordan Presents Hero Anthology book. So it's an anthology book that focuses on the theme of heroes and sort of heroics and stuff. And so I think basically each author is going to pitch in one story, and the authors that are going to be working on it will be Rashani Chakshi, JC Cervantes, Yoon Ha Lee, Carlos Hernandez, Kwame Mambalia, Rebecca Roanhorse, Taylor K. Mejia, Sarwat Chada, and Gracie Kim. So basically, all the Rick Riordan Presents authors that will be published by the time this book comes out, plus Rick Riordan will also be adding his own chapter. And they weren't really clear exactly, but I have a feeling that these aren't necessarily going to be in the worlds of the Rick Riordan Presents stories and the Camp Half-Blood Chronicles that they respectively write for. I think this is more just going to be like a theme of heroes, and each person writes a story about a hero they make up, or like a hero from a mythology or something. And it's kind of going to be like a anthology about what it means to be a hero.
Yeah, yeah, that definitely feels like the direction that it's more going to be in. I don't think for the people that are curious about maybe seeing more of Percy Jackson's world in this story, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's much more likely that it's just kind of individual stories specifically created for this anthology.
Yeah. So the next news we got, I'm admitting, I was our source of news for this event, and I messed up because they announced a new book, and I got really excited, and I took a picture of the not final cover, and but I forgot to kind of remember the important stuff, like that when this is going to release and the mythology is based off of. So I'm just going to try my best. So yeah, but the book is a Rick Riordan Presents book by Lori M. Lee, and it's called Bahua and the Soul Stealer. Hey, it's Samuel in the editing studio. So, part of the reason this episode is releasing a little bit later in the day is because I went to the Trials of Uncle Rick event that was on Sunday after I recorded this, which meant I had a little bit less time to edit on Sunday, but there I learned that Pahua and the Soul Stealer by Lori M. Lee will be based off of Hmong myths and culture. So, the book is set to release September 7th, 2021. I also learned about the book Mateo Matisse, Lullaby for a Lost Island. This Rick Riordan Presents book by Daniel Jose Older will focus on a boy with healing powers who has to save injured protesters, and the book is set to release August 2nd, 2022. Now, back to the episode. So also, we got cover art for The Last Fallen Star, which is a book that we've talked about. I don't know if we've actually done a review on it. An oracle. We still have not done an oracle on The Last Fallen Star, but we have kind of hinted at it, I guess is the correct word. We've hinted at it a couple times,
Yeah.
and that now has a cover that they revealed on the Trials of Uncle Rick, but also has now come out on readriordan.com.
Yeah.
And also, The Last Fallen Star has been confirmed for books 2 and 3. So it's going to be a trilogy, one book coming out 2021, then 2022,
May
then
4th,
2023.
2021 to be precise.
Yes, it is coming out May 4th, 2021. We got a release date for that, which we did not have
So
before.
May the 4th be with you, and also The Last Fallen Star.
Yeah, so we got cover art for Paola Santiago book 2, and so that is looking very, very sweet. We got Paola being sort of tailed by some guy. She looks pretty nervous. She's also noticeably alone. We don't see any of her companions sort of walking with her. Not even Bruto. So that is not looking good for
Not even
Paola.
Bruto.
So
And in The Last Fallen Star cover, you just see kind of like a guy and a girl, and I think there's some sort of like dragon coming out from behind.
mhm.
But yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about that dragon. It looking pretty colorful.
Yeah.
Yeah, another thing they talked about is how basically I was not aware of this, but basically all the Rick Riordan Presents books have already been basically sold their film rights. So
Yeah, so I'll just go down the list right here. But Aru Shah has been sold to Paramount. Sal and Gabby has been sold to the Disney Channel. Stormrunner has been sold to Apple. Tristan Strong has been sold to Disney. Race to the Sun has been sold to Netflix. And Paula Santiago, which we did talk about the TV show earlier, has been sold to 20th Television.
the 20th Television, Diego.
20th Century Fox or whatever.
20th Television is my favorite channel on the internet.
Shh. Be quiet.
It's just channel 20 on every television. Um
Shh.
no, I agree. It's a very it's very interesting. Um, but I was not aware of this, and that's very cool. And so I'm not sure how far off this will be, but I was very upset when I find out King Chronicles was going to Netflix and we'd be separated from Percy Jackson. Now I'm finding out that basically all of Rick Riordan Presents is separated. I mean, I knew they were in different universes. I knew the books were in different universes, but I was thinking, hey, if they start to make like TV shows, then the company that owns all of them will definitely force them to do crossovers, and that'll be cool. Nope, still not going to happen.
No,
The TV
no
shows,
crossovers anytime soon.
yeah, the TV shows are going to be true to the books in that manner.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's go into the mailbag. I know we said we were doing that like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
So I'll read the first we're gonna start with the Apple reviews. I'll read the first review and Samuel, you can read the second. So the first review, the subject is awesome podcast! Exclamation mark. It's a 5-star review and it reads, Roses are pink, violets aren't blue, Diego's a genius, and Samuel likes to diss warriors too. I love that poem, by the way. And then it says, "Love your podcast!" Exclamation mark. You guys inspired me to start creating content of my own! Exclamation mark. And this is from Pickleman Plays from Apple Podcast in the U.S. of A.
Yeah, and that we got August 31st. Thank you so much, Pickleman Plays. That is a very cool poem. I like how, so we're all about like reporting accurate news, and I like how he was like, no, roses are pink and violets aren't, they are not blue.
They're actually they're actually not blue.
I like how they decided to be very correct on the colors and then say correct aspects of us. Diego is a genius, and I like to diss warriors because let's face it, we don't need 66 books about cats killing each other. All right.
It's so true. I think there's literally like the author wrote like 80 books or something.
Okay, so first off, it's authors because Aaron Hunter is 6 people. Like that's a known fact.
I didn't know that, but this just gets better. But yeah, if you want to write us a poem, please do. We love poems, and especially if they contain "Diego's a genius." At the end of every Apple review, I just want it to say "Diego is a genius."
I don't want that. Listen, we're gonna have a competition. Leave an Apple review, um, and you either leave Diego is a genius at the end of it, or you don't, and then we can like tally up the points by our next mailbag.
We
So,
can.
and also we got another Apple review more recently, and this says this is as great as Perseus, and it says 5 stars. I love this podcast. I just found it yesterday, and I'm already halfway through. 5 stars, and I would definitely recommend. So they would definitely recommend the podcast. That's from Jason Grace, in Australia. So no,
Yeah.
Jason
So
Grace, not who. So that's the Jason Grace, not who. I don't know what the not who is. So I'm
I
just gonna
think he
say Jason
means not
Grace.
heroes of Olympus.
Oh, not
I th-
so like another someone named Jason Grace, but they were not the Jason Grace from Heroes of Olympus. Is that
yeah, maybe.
that was?
Or they might be referring maybe to Jason Grace from the Trials of Apollo. Yeah, I'm not really sure.
But yeah, shout out to Australia. Actually, believe it or not, we get more downloads there than in Canada. So,
Yeah.
thanks
Yeah,
for that.
Canada.
And I like that they compared us to the least problematic of the male Greek heroes. So cool there.
Yeah, I don't want to be dying or being eaten by monsters or being flayed by the gods anytime soon, and Perseus is one of the ones that gets out okay. So I'll take that.
Well, when I said least problematic, I meant like they didn't like bully as many women, basically. And
Well,
bully is the
also
PG word.
there.
Yeah, we don't want to be Hercules. I think Percy taught us that lesson. Percy's like, no, I'm not Hercules, and we're like, yes, we're not even demigods, but yes, that too. So we're as great as Perseus. There you go.
We
We don't
are.
murder our wives. Um,
That took a turn right there. Anyway, Samuel, you want to jump into the emails?
Yeah. So, well, before we do that, I just want to say we got a lot of messages for a website, and we actually go back and forth with a lot of people. So, say for example, if you've sent us something for our website and we've messaged you multiple times, and we kind of have a back and forth, it kind of seems unfair to also read one of your messages on the mailbag episode. So we're trying to read more of the messages that we've had least interaction with online and just reading in the podcast, and also the stuff that kind of asks question. If you specifically don't want something to be left out of the mailbag, then just say that in the message and we'll make sure to include you in the mailbag.
Yeah.
But so as for now, we're kind of just picking and choosing what makes more sense, so kind of it's fair for everyone to get stuff in the mailbag.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, if you don't want your message to be read, please let us know because we do want to respect your privacy. Anyway,
Yeah,
Samuel,
but
you want
also
to?
And if you want your message to be read, let us know, or because we don't want to make you feel left out. So
Yeah.
just that kind of letting us know about if you want, because we only do these seasonally, right? Every 4 months. So we gotta combine 4 months of messages into like 20 minutes. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's got to be quick. You want to read the first email, Samuel?
yeah, so this is actually an email that we got all the way right after we recorded our last mailbag episode. And 1 year anniversary is the subject line. It says, "Congratulations on your 1 year anniversary. I've recently found your podcast and I really enjoy listening. Keep doing what you're doing. Sincerely, a fan, Samaya." So I felt bad that we didn't get to do this in our 1 year anniversary
Yeah, because it
mailbag.
was it was right after, like we
Yeah, it
recorded the
came.
episode. We recorded the episode, and then we got the message, and we were like, "Oh no!"
Yeah. So thank you for that. I know we're a bit late on our thank you, but yeah, we are glad we made it to 1 year. We're glad we made it to 10,000 downloads. This is, yeah. I think we're forming a pattern of doing these mailbag episodes on like important events for the
Monumentous
podcast.
occasions. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, the next person is somebody who sent us this through our website, and they said, "You guys rock." Well, thank you for that, and you rock as well.
Yeah, that's a cool little anonymous message of someone saying, "You guys,
Yeah,
I like the spread of positivity here. That's very cool."
exactly, exactly. I'll read the next email. This one is the subject line is in all caps CHB Austin and then 5 exclamation marks. Not one, not two, not three, not even four, but 5 exclamation marks.
Well, I
And
like
it
I like
says
I like positivity and I like excitement. So let's get
excitement.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
It says hi exclamation mark exclamation mark.
Okay, good.
I should read it like hi. Uh, I just listened to episode 44 and 41. I'm Amelia and I love Camp Half Blood Austin. So I was really excited when you got to talk to Topher on your podcast. In episode 44, Diego said his sister hates Percy Jackson but loves Camp Half Blood. It's the same for me and my brothers. My brother thinks he's above Percy Jackson and only likes Sal and Gabby, but he loves Camp Half Blood so much, loves quest and sword fighting, and loves the Minecraft server. If you didn't make an episode about it, I really want to hear what the Brooklyn branch was like. I know there are 3 Camp Half Blood branches: Austin, Brooklyn, and a place that starts with a W, which I cannot remember, but there's not much info online of what Brooklyn is like. And then it says it has a colon and a little D, which is kind of like a sideways happy face. And it says, "That's all." And this is from Amelia.
So thanks, Amelia. That's a very cool message. And yeah, so I we love talking to Topher. That was very fun. We love Camp Half Blood. I think it's funny that your brother is like, "No, I'm above Percy Jackson,
Yeah,
selling
yeah. I don't, I
Gabby."
don't, I don't do Percy Jackson. I'm not lowly pond scum. But yeah, no, it's super cool. I have not been to Camp Half Blood Brooklyn. Samuel has. So Samuel, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Okay, so the thing is, the last time I went to Camp Half Blood Brooklyn, I was probably 7 to 9 years old. So that was at the minimum 6 years ago. So I cannot speak very well on that, but I do want us to try to definitely get some sort of insider scoop on Camp Half-Blood Brooklyn. I can't promise whether or not that episode will come out tomorrow or whether it will come out, like a year from now. Probably not tomorrow, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
something that we have been thinking about doing. Um, and I just listen. Amelia, when we find out when we're talking about Camp Athlete Austin, you'll be the first to know. But yeah, as for now, we haven't actually basically done any content about the Camp Half Bloods other than Camp Half Blood Austin. Thanks for that email, Amelia.
Moving on, we have another anonymous message from somebody through the website, and they say, "Good job," and good job to you, person who sent us this message, because we love
I
it.
am loving the positivity.
These
Just little
anonymous
short.
messages, yeah, they're like little snippets. If you don't want to send a full email, if you just want to go to our website and just say, "Good job, you guys rock," You're the best. Diego's a genius. Feel free. Um, we love that kind of stuff.
So this message is also through the website, and it says, "Hi, I like your podcast. I've been listening for a while, but not since the beginning. It's very entertaining, and I like Diego the most. Uh,
Aha! Aha! Get fooled, Samuel.
I
I'm a
like Diego the
genius.
most, even when he's told to shut up. LOL. I am a
Oh,
fan of all I'm a
that took
fan
a
of all
turn
Rick
right
Riordan
there.
Presents books and Rick Riordan I'm a fan of all Rick Riordan books and Rick Riordan Presents books. Did you see there is a new book in the imprint about vampires? Haha, I know you've seen because you retweeted. I'm just saying to change the subject. I'm hoping that you'll do an episode
Nice.
on what that might be about. I like your logo too. Have you ever considered transcribing your podcast? I would offer to do that, but I don't know you and my parents wouldn't like it. Sorry. Also, I like the Iris/Irish joke. At least I think it was a joke. I could be a mistake, but I think that's still funny. I have to go to bed now because it's almost midnight, but I wanted to thank you for giving me something to do. I don't have a lot to do with quarantine and summer vacation and all. Also, thank you for talking about Rick Riordan Presents because I think they are underrated, especially Dragon Pearl. Also, thank you for always retweeting stuff about Rick Riordan or Rick Riordan Presents on your Twitter account because then I don't have to look for it. I have your Twitter account bookmarked now, and it's so helpful. From Sam. Thank you for your time. So that is a nice message, Sam. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm glad you like our
thank you,
Twitter
Sam.
account. Yeah, I'm very
Um,
appreciative of this email. W- 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 I like
I
Diego
think
the
we,
most.
I
Excuse
think
me.
we had to address the elephant in the room, which is that this amazing fan, this absolute god of a person, loves me the best. Which, I mean, it's understandable.
You know, I think true fans like us both equally. So I appreciate the message, Sam. But
I mean, what can I say?
hey, it was a funny joke? The Irish/Irish joke. That was a really funny joke. You know who made that joke? Diego, take a guess.
I don't know. Probably me because he likes me the most. But yeah, thank you, Sam. We have thought in
Yeah,
the past
thank
of
you.
transcribing the podcast.
I think he's
But
just jealous because we share the same name. So yeah, Sam. I know your plan here. All right. No,
um,
in all
but
seriousness, in all seriousness, thanks for the message. That's very cool of you to send the message. As for transcribing our podcast, that is something that we've been looking into doing. But we just it would
take a while.
yeah, it's a lot of work. So it's an important thing that we should get around to doing sometime soon. But I just don't know when that's going to happen. But hopefully very soon.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it would also be a question of where we would make that available. Like that would be something we posted on our website or something. But it is something we have thought about. That's not something that we're just kind of leaving at the curbside.
yeah,
I'm thankful that you thought about that and like called us out on it. And we're not really called us out, but like told us about it. But yeah, that is something that we should do. Diego, you want to read another message?
yeah. Sure. Thanks again, Sam. This one says, "Wow." This is another one anonymous from the website, and it says, "Wow, this is so cool. I can't believe I didn't find you guys sooner." And then it has a little happy face at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the positivity from the anonymous website messages is just crazy. I mean, I'm glad you think we're cool. And I'm glad you found us. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a message from our website also, and it says, "Hey Samuel and Diego, you inspired me to start creating content on my own. Here's something to ponder. If there was a fourth Magnus Chase book, what would you expect from it? Thanks, Pickleman Plays." Well, Pickleman Plays, thank you for leaving that awesome Apple review.
Yeah.
And hey, whether you're Pickleman Plays or you're just someone we've inspired to make content, if we have inspired you to make content, please send us some sort of link to the content because that is something we want
Yeah.
to check out.
We would be like super
It's
super
inspiring that we're inspiring. Yeah.
it is. It's inspiring that we're inspiring. Seeing other people create content because we inspired them would be super cool. And we would love to share your content with the rest of the audience.
So, Diego, Pickleman Plays asked the question. Do you have any theories here?
I do have a couple. Now that Rick Riordan has officially confirmed that he will be doing a couple of like standalone mini novels, a lot of people have been speculating as to whether he might return to the world of Magnus Chase. While I do think that this is definitely a possibility, just seen as Magnus Chase is one of the most popular series that he wrote, probably right behind Percy Jackson. It's probably the second most popular series that he wrote. And it was a super cool world. And I definitely think if he wanted to revisit one of the other series that he's written, it would probably be Magnus Chase. I don't think it would be a book 4. I think it would be maybe like kind of a backstory. So it might start from the point of before he died instead of like moments before he died. But I definitely think it is a possibility.
Yeah. Yeah, I would. I mean, I don't think there. No, I don't. I don't think it's a possibility. Like, I don't think a fourth Magnus Chase book. I don't think happening.
No, no, not a fourth Magnus Chase book.
Something else in the Magnus Chase world, I find that still unlikely, but possible. As to what it would be about, I really have no idea. I mean, they stopped Ragnarok, and that's basically Norse mythology. Like the end of all Norse mythology is Ragnarok. So, like what comes
Nice.
after, right? I think it
Yeah.
would be interesting. Maybe giants decide to try to invade Earth again or something. It's definitely like a weird
Midgard. Midgard.
Earth Midgard, same thing. But yeah, it's definitely like it's definitely an interesting idea. Like if there was a fourth Magnus Chase book, which I know a lot of people want there to be a fourth Magnus Chase book, but what would it be about? Because I mean, it's kind of those one of those weird things, kind of like the cursed child, when it's like when you literally defeat the main villain. Like
There's kind of
what
nothing to do. They could
yeah,
go
the curse.
back in time to before Ragnarok,
Yeah,
before stopping
so
it.
I mean, is it just like they're grown up and then they have to kill their kids so he can go to um the hotel Valhalla? Like, what do you do? I don't know. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Wait, wait. If
I
you're
would.
an Enhenjar, an Hejar, I'm not pronouncing that right. And if you
Mhm.
have kids, are your kids born dead?
I think you just can't have kids. I think that's basic
Well, that's
because
kind
you're
of
supposed to.
sad.
Well, you're supposed to spend all your time fighting to end Ragnarok. So what you're
Yeah,
supposed to
but
do?
wouldn't it be pretty useful if you could like create more warriors to help you with your giant fight?
Well, I think the idea is that like enough people will die to be warriors. Um,
Hmm.
it's a weird idea there. Just
Yeah,
I
it's
would
kind
just
of
like it to
weird.
be something with Annabeth, like something with Annabeth, like them fighting some sort of Norse thing, almost like the Kane Chronicles Percy Jackson crossover, but just it's Annabeth doing some sort of Norse mythology stuff with Magnus, and Alex or Samira. I think a story like that would be cool. Um,
Yeah, definitely.
because I know Annabeth is in Magnus Chase, but she doesn't, go around fighting Norse monsters with him, which I think would be something that Annabeth and Magnus would totally do.
Yeah, that's
So,
definitely like, hey, I'm gonna go hang out with my cousin. Okay, have fun. So, who are we killing today?
wow.
But anyway, yeah, thanks so much for that nice message and that interesting question. Pickleman plays.
Also, hey, we do other mailbag episodes, so if you want to answer Pickleman Plays question, message us.
Yeah.
Also, while we're on the topic of what to message for next time, we actually did get a message from Simone who said, I have an idea for you guys. Maybe you can invite fans for their ideas of what happens to Percy, Annabeth, and etc. Obviously, because there's going to be no more main books on these characters. So, yeah, that's an interesting idea. What happens to all these characters after the Tower of Nero? So, if you've read the Tower of Nero, just sort of record a voice memo or send an email, and you can send us sort of like a voice message, actually.
Yeah, so send it in, send your answers in to Simone's question, and we'll play the voicemail on the podcast or read your email.
Yeah,
Can
not a
you
voicemail. Like a voice
voice memo?
memo.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
record that on your phone and email it.
Can you read the question again? Just one more time for the
Yeah, the question is, what do you think happens to Percy and Annabeth and all the main characters after the Tower of Nero? So, like, kind of what's your fan fiction there? Hmm.
Yeah, next up we have some more positive messages from the website. The website really coming in clutch here with all the positivity, and it says, "Hi!" exclamation mark. I'm like the biggest fan ever of the Percy Jackson series and have been reading along for 5 years exclamation mark. I love your videos and can't wait for the Tower of Nero exclamation mark. Thanks. We love our videos too, and there might be more in the future. Possibly.
Yeah, that's a nice message.
So I'm gonna read this next message from one of our fans. So we actually asked fans to reach out to us if they knew what the hot dog symbolized in the timeline of the Trials of Apollo, and Helena reached out to us and said, "Just so you know, the hot dog is for when Apollo is weirded out by bug juice, and he also has hot dogs. He is eating dinner with Austin, Kayla, Will, and Nico." And then she says 5 stars in all caps with an exclamation mark.
I
So
like how this
thank
person is like,
you.
listen, you're dumb. I knew better trivia than you, but 5 stars.
No, no. Thank you for reaching out to us and letting us know that
Yeah.
answer, because we were just totally puzzled. We had no idea.
Well, I'm still mad because listen, the
In
peaches
timeline
came.
order, it's a timeline. It should be in timeline order. Reed Riordan, I'm
The
looking
peaches
at
came
you.
before the hot dog in the books. So, listen, thank you for remembering where the hot dogs were, but I'm just saying, I don't
Reed
like that timeline order thing
Reed Riordan
because,
needs to figure it out.
yeah, peaches came first. Um,
But thank you for the 5 stars.
yeah.
Telling us 5 stars is great. We love to hear that. But also dropping it in Apple is fantastic because it makes it so that Apple likes us more.
Well,
I don't
it
know what
just
it
makes it
actually
so
does.
other people know about you. It's like leaving an Apple review that says 5 stars is like telling the world that you love us, basically.
Yeah,
Uh,
and
so
we know you do. You
well,
listening to this podcast right now, do it. Drop the review.
if you haven't left us a review, that would be highly appreciated.
The next message is from Magnus Chase, our patron, who is amazing. And how did it feel to actually talk to Rick Riordan? And little self plug right here. If you guys are wondering more about that and more about behind the scenes content and things like that, you should definitely join our Patreon. It's $1 a month and you get a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and we're definitely planning to sort of talk more about how it feels to sort of do these interviews. But as for now, I will say it feels really cool. It's very cool that we get to do this kind of stuff. But it feels very rewarding because we're not just doing this for ourselves. We're not just like, yeah, we got to talk to Rick Riordan. We are doing this to try to bring you sort of information on what these offers are doing, right? When we talk to these offers, we're not asking them questions for ourselves. We're asking questions that we think other people would want to know the answers to as well. So that's kind of a big reason that doing these interviews are
Yeah.
so gratifying. I do want to clarify because I think Diego kind of might have forgot. Magnus Chase is our patron. That's their screen name, so I cannot confirm nor deny whether that is the real Magnus Chase. But someone in our patron Magnus Chase uses that as the screen name. So I don't. So I'm not gonna necessarily
Yeah, we don't
say
we don't
that
know if
it
it's actually Magnus Chase, but we can't tell you that it's not Magnus Chase. Uh,
exactly, Diego.
exactly, exactly.
So let's see. We're approaching the end, but we got a message that says, does Rick know that a lot of people do fan art and fanfic about his work? And does he really know about the Riordan Wiki? A lot of people do fanfic on Wattpad like me. Also, is he doing anything with Ireland myths? So, Let me do this one by one. Does Rick know that a lot of people do fan art and fanfic? Yes, he does.
Yes, yes,
But
he
he's not.
does.
But for legal reasons, he can't really look at it or promote it.
Exactly.
Does he know about the Riordan way? Yes, actually, in the Trials of Uncle Rick, he said that he sometimes refers to that for his own books. So
He's like, wait a second, I forgot something. Quickie, look up Riordan Wiki.
no,
That's actually
he
that's pretty
no
convenient.
no, he said that he always like uses the book as the like last true source. Like the book he wrote, not even his own like head stuff. The book he wrote is the version he always uses when he's writing, but occasionally he'll just check what the wikis are saying, the fan wikis. But he said that that sometimes they put their own personal twist on the stuff he wrote, which he said is fine, but not the most accurate for his future writing stuff.
Yeah,
Here's another message we got. It says, "Just realizing there's a lack of female couples in these books, like none. Am I forgetting some? I'm sure you could tie something in about the acceptance of gay ships versus lesbian/two women. Anyways, thoughts? So, there are two lesbian ships. There's Poison Oak and Lavinia.
that's from the Tyrant's Tomb, the fourth book in the Trials of Apollo. So if you're
Yeah.
not there
So,
yet, no real spoiler as it's kind of mentioned in the first chapter.
yeah. I mean, Poison Oak is like off screen for most of the book, so that it's not like really talked about, but it is like, yeah, this character is lesbian, and they're
Yeah, actually, Lavinia disappears multiple times in the book to kind of like meet with Poison Oak, and runs away from the eyes of Camp Jupiter.
yeah, and also there's Emmy and Joe, I think it was, from the way station. So that's another couple.
While I'm not actually sure as to the number of gay couples, I think it's
So there's
probably
Nico and Will, and
Nico
then
and Will.
Hearthstone and Blitzen. Hearthstone and Blitzen is not confirmed, but I think we can all agree that they're. Yeah, I think we can all agree that they're a gay couple.
It's not confirmed though. So, as for gay ships, I think the only other one is Hicanth or Hicanthius and Apollo.
Hmm. Yeah, so it's basically just Apollo's dead love interest and Nico and Will. And then if you're being generous, Hearthstone and Blitzen, which I think we can be generous there. And then it's Lavinia and Poison Oak and Emmy and Joe. Most of them aren't main characters, but I think a lot of them are. So I think it's like, I don't know. It's definitely interesting. I think overall in popular culture, you see more, you know, male and male ships than you see female and female. But
I don't think Rick did it on purpose, but that is definitely something that's pretty interesting.
yeah, I don't. I mean, it's almost like if we're. I think it's yeah. I don't think Rick's like saying, "Oh, I can't have like a second lesbian relationship." I mean, or like have a third, right? I think Rick is pretty cool, and I think he just writes what makes sense for the characters. But also, like, it's not. It's kind of like if someone says, "I want a lesbian relationship," and he's like, "Yeah, that's an important thing to have in the book." The thing is, diversity is kind of a very vast thing, so you have to when Rick Riordan, he's very conscious about being diverse as possible. So he has to, write lots of diverse characters. And as you'll see throughout Trials of Apollo, like there's a lot of diversity, outside of sexuality. There's, lots of different races in the Trials of Apollo, um, and stuff like that. So I think Rick Riordan tries his best, and it's also hard
Yeah.
because Trials of Apollo, there if you look like compared to his other series, there are less main characters, like new main characters introduced, because so many of the main characters in Trials of Apollo are kind of the heroes of Olympus, which we love seeing again. So it's hard to introduce like new characters that are even more diverse. Yeah, so I think if you haven't read Trials of Apollo, then it definitely does look like there aren't many lesbian relationships in Rick's works. But once you're through that, I think he has a couple. We might actually be missing some. I feel like there's more that. we're
Yeah, I feel
missing.
like there's one more that we're definitely missing.
It's a weird thing to think about because I don't think Rick was like thinking when he wrote these. I have two male and male ships, so I need to have two female and female
Yeah,
ships.
I
Like,
think it's kind of something more that happens naturally.
mm-hmm. I agree. But yeah, thanks for the interesting question, Anna. That's a cool thing to dissect. Like, at what point, like, can we sort of accuse someone of being discriminatory against one type of gay ship and another? And then, like, one point, is it just like that's what makes sense for the story? That's an
Yeah.
interesting question. But I think
Yeah.
Rick has been pretty cool about diversity in general.
Mhm. Mhm. And moving on to our last message for this mailbag, it says, I was wondering, how do you guys do what you do? Because your podcast is probably one of the most inspiring to me.
Oh, that's a
We
nice
that
message to end
that is
on.
that is a kind message. How do we do what we do? Well, we do it because we have such amazing fans, like we've seen in this episode, that write us great and inspiring messages. And we are inspiring because you inspire us. So keep on listening, and keep on writing us cool messages. We love to read them.
Yeah, and also a lot of hard work. I mean, it does take hard work to make content like this,
Yes,
but
yes, yes.
like Diego said, it is the fans that makes all the hard work worth it. So you know what, this has
Thank you.
been kind of a long one, but thanks for tuning in. And
Doing a
yeah.
little fan appreciation.
Mhm.
And Samuel, I think that's it for this episode.
Yeah, that is for this episode of the Half Blood Report. Diego, how can someone contact this podcast?
You can follow the show on Twitter at Half Report. You can also find us on Instagram at The Half Blood Report, or email the show at thehalfbloodreport at gmail.com. As we mentioned earlier, we also have a website, thehalfbloodreport.com, and sending us kind and positive anonymous messages through there is amazing.
Yeah, and please leave a review on Apple Podcast. We really respond to those on our seasonal mailbag episodes. Also, check out our Patreon. We kind of talked about that earlier, so we won't go in depth. But you can find out about it on all the tiers and stuff at patreon.com/join/ the Half Lit Report, all one word, no dash. And the link to that is also in the description.
Yeah, and I know we talked about it earlier in the episode as well, but we do want to shout out our first Patreon, Magnus Chase.
And we've been pushing it a lot this episode, and I want to clarify, if you're not able to support us there, if that's not something you can do, we totally understand. It feels like COVID is behind us, but these are still tough times for a lot of people, and it's totally okay if you can't support us there. We're
Yeah,
still very grateful for you just downloading the episode. That's a very cool
downloading
thing
the
to do.
episode is all the support we need.
But you know what will be cool? Leaving us an Apple review.
Yeah. That said, it's time for credits. Our theme music is actually by me.
I do our editing. My co-host here is Diego, and I'm Samuel.
This is the Half Blood Report podcast, the only HBR that matters. Survive till next week.